Do you have questions about your health? Do you need to find out what's keeping you from feeling your absolute best? If so, your intuition has guided you to the right place. I am Dr. Charlize, and welcome to the Art of Healing podcast community. In this podcast, we explore all topics in health and wellness, from Reiki to functional medicine, energy medicine, chakras, and meditation. Join me every week for fresh new episodes that highlight healers, various healing modalities, and choose this as your opportunity to find what healing works best for you. If you want to learn more about me, simply Google at Dr. Charlize. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Art of Healing podcast. I am Dr. Charlize, and thank you for joining me for today's podcast, which is all about the Hormone Harmony Summit. So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while or have noticed if we interact on social media, I've been talking a lot about hormonal health, perimenopause, and menopause. We've been having this ongoing conversation on the blog and emails, all of this because we're going to have an in-depth and great conversation with multiple speakers coming up in a few days. So I'm so happy you're tuning in so that you can get signed up and join us live and for free starting on Thursday, February 19th to the 22nd to that Sunday. So let me tell you about the summit. The reason why I created this summit was multiple reasons. Patients that come to me that are thinking about becoming a patient or had been a patient, and my current patients, we frequently talk about things that are happening in perimenopause and menopause. In full disclosure, as a practicing physician, although I understood the physiology and I had learned the textbook description of what is perimenopause or what is menopause or what happens, what probably doesn't, the lived experience of my patients just has not matched up with the training that I had in medical school and residency. So over the years, I've had to adapt and learn from different specialists, learn from different healers, all leading us up to the summit that we're having this week. So this summit is for women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond, because it turns out that perimenopause and menopause are important stages throughout your life for a big bulk of your life. The reason why it's for women that are so young, because we discover during the summit that some women begin to notice changes of perimenopause as young as their 30s, mostly in their 40s and 50s. And what are these changes? So during the summit, we're going to cover globally what happens inside the body, around the body, what happens medically. We have some great talks, which I'm going to outline to you in a second. But to get signed up, in your show notes, you'll see a link that will take you. You submit your email, and it'll also show you a schedule once you go to the page where you sign up for the summit. The schedule is still flexing a little bit right now. I think we are mostly lined up as far as when we'll have our speakers, but I would encourage you to sign up so that way you can join live if that's easier for you. But the nice thing with this summit is that you don't have to be directly on with us live. You can join us later for the replays. And if you buy the All Access Pass, which right now is $27, and it's the best price it's going to be, you'll have access to the talks and all of the precious resources that each speaker is providing. So our speakers, we have Dr. April Day. She is a naturopathic physician, and she is going to give us a good basic sciences of what perimenopause and menopause are. She is also going to teach us about hormonal therapy. And the way that she teaches this, it's so accessible and so easy to understand that she'll be launching us because it's a good, sturdy place for us to start. Then we'll move on to Zuzu, who is Karen Armis, and she is going to tell us why we should love our guts. But truly what she does is she's going to explain to us some of the science behind your digestive tract, your nervous system, and how that affects your hormones. Her talk is unique as well because then she's going to give us alternatives, because one of the conversations that comes up in the questions that the questions that women have in modern times are, should I be on hormone replacement? Do I start hormones because I'm in menopause? What do I do? Or I can't because I've got a history of certain cancers or I've got a history of blood clots. So Zuzu is going to give us some tools for how you can approach this stage in your life if hormone therapy is not an option for you or you don't want to do that. Big theme in this whole summit is choice and empowerment, and you understanding what you need to do next and what information you want to take with you whenever you schedule your next appointment with your doctor. The most powerful talk will be on Thursday evening, and this is going to be the amazing Dr. Lakeisha, who is the International Hormone Whisperer. She is going to give us the eminent description and talk about women's health, the history, the current history of how we got to where we are in women's health, why so many women had been guided and left to suffer because of inaccurate interpretation of medical science, and then the next steps. And that's the apology tour. Because her talk is so important, it's scheduled for Thursday evening. So hopefully you can, catch it once you're off work. But if you can't, remember, as long as you sign up, you'll have 24 hours to view it. And then you can buy the all access so that you can get her transcript and the summary and all of that stuff. Then we'll move on to the next day. We'll be joined by the amazing Dr. Tara Marsh, who is close personal friend, but she's also an amazing physical therapist. And she breaks down why you got to pick up the weights. And the way that she does it, you will be so excited to get to your resistance training, to get to the gym. When she gives you the reason behind why you want to do this, you get really motivated. You don't want to miss her talk. We have a few live sessions, and the best way to know about when those lives will be and how they're going to play out is to go ahead and sign up for the summit, because I have a few additional talk speakers who are scheduling their talks now. So there'll be more to come on that. And really the best way to get updates is to go ahead and sign up. This is a holistic summit. So we start off with the medical sciences and the labs and understanding your estrogen and progesterone and FSH and all that. Then we're going to move on. And this was really the heart and soul of what drove even creating this summit, is that for women that are in perimenopause and menopause, there's physical changes, but it is so much bigger than that. It's just so much bigger than the physical changes. So our next set of speakers are going to come in, and you really want to sit with these talks, take notes, have your journal, and just really open up your energy. Brandy Gibson, who is a licensed therapist and a yoga instructor who's very experienced in both, she's going to describe to us the emotional landscape of perimenopause and menopause. And she really gives us a good explanation as to why this can be challenging and some next steps. And then Brandy is going to be doing a second talk that is going to be really one of the most important, that addresses the loss and grief in perimenopause and menopause, and how that loss and grief interplays with your physical symptoms. Again, you don't want to miss her talks. You just want to go ahead and sign up while you can go ahead and listen, because for so many women, that's the big stuff. And that's the stuff that often is going to get missed. You might get in and get all the necessary labs done, even get on your hormone replacement. But until you address this emotional aspect and how your past may have played a role, you don't want to miss this talk. Then we'll be joined by the amazing intuitive healer, Kelly Schweigel, and she is going to describe to us some of these spiritual changes that you start to notice. And in particular with her talk, she really takes us into the physical body, but then we start to step into the bigger pieces as to what's happening inside of you, what this transition means. And Kelly really empowers us during her talk by letting us know what this transition really, really is and what it means. And once you hear her talk, depending on where you are in your journey, you will feel so good about yourself. I know as we were doing it, I just felt so good about myself. Then we'll have Kathy Harmon-Luber, who is a dear friend. And in all honesty, she's the inspiration for this summit, which it's a long story. I'll have to get into at some point. But Kathy and I met years ago. She's been a podcast guest and we've been collaborating. And it is really through her inspiration that this summit even came about. So Kathy is going to educate us on the energy body, the chakras, and the hormones. And she gives us a good, educational, well-rounded talk on understanding that energy piece as well as how that interplays with your physical body. I will be including my own talk, which is one of my favorite workshops that I did, which is harmonizing your energy. And it's an interactive workshop where we experience our chakras and our hormones. And then finally, we will have another day of some more great speakers, including Holly Chandler. This is a really unique inclusion in the summit because Holly, who is very successful in the business world, she's going to come and speak to us the way I described her talk when we were doing her interview, the vocational part of perimenopause and menopause. She's going to speak to how you might be feeling physically, how you're feeling emotionally and spiritually, and what that means for your career, your work, your business. And she's going to answer to why you might be feeling like it's time for a change, because it turns out in perimenopause and menopause, a lot of us feel sudden urges to make big career or business changes or life changes. And she's going to guide us through that. It's so cool going along with everything else that we're talking about. So, and again, the schedule, which you'll see in your notes, is flexing some. So it's not finalized yet by the time you'll be hearing this podcast. But my best advice to you is to go ahead and sign up for the summit. Throughout the summit, I will be alongside you and I will be doing live interactive sessions as your guide, as your host. And I'm so excited. But really, I know that there's other programs and summits out there, but we are covering this phase from the molecular level and, how your estrogen's made and metabolized and what's happening in your gut all the way to the metaphysical level and how you're feeling and what that says about where you are in life and your transition from maiden to mother to crone. We're covering all of that in the summit. Your takeaways from the summit is going to be that this phase in your life is setting you up to transition into an even better version of yourself and how you are meant to feel. At the same time, we'll have a compassionate container to explore some of those deeper issues, things that you maybe had not felt ready to explore, or they seem too scary to explore. So again, I am so excited for you to join us for the summit. So I know that not everyone listening is a woman, but you probably know women, or you love a woman, or you work with women. So do us a favor. Why don't you copy the link and share the link with them? I think that if you're a man listening and you are wondering if this is, someone you love, wife, sister, mother, go ahead and share the link with her if you happen to be listening. I had some questions about the summit. One question was, well, is this summit for women in their 70s? Yes, because in your 70s, you are likely postmenopausal, and you likely are still dealing with some of these changes that occur during this phase. So yes, I would say it is definitely for you. And likely if you are in your 70s, you may have to interact with women who were in some of these earlier phases. So it's good for you to hear it. And if nothing else, it's good for you to get a compassionate take on what you may have been through in the past. Next questions, the cost right now, $27. Best time to sign up. Once we go live and it's all done, the price of the tickets will go up to $47. Tickets will remain available after that if you would like to attend the recordings, but this is the best time to sign up is right now for $27. So in your show notes, the sign up for the summit will be there. Feel free to email me, message me if you happen to catch this on social media. Send me a DM if you have more questions. Otherwise, I will be seeing you later this week during the summit. And we'll see what happens with the podcast. It's been pretty busy. So we may not be on this podcast for a little bit, depending on how it goes. But otherwise, do look forward to having some guests and things on the podcast here a little bit later. But this is a big week for the Art of Healing podcast community, and definitely a chance for us to interact face to face if you've been listening and want to meet, at least online. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Check your show notes. Go ahead and sign up so you don't miss what's going on. See you later this week. Thank you so much for joining during this episode of the Art of Healing podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a review. Also, you can check your show notes to find out how to get a copy of this and future episodes emailed directly to your inbox, available to listen to anytime. Finally, if you have questions or wish to connect to me, check your show notes to find out how we can get connected and find out how I can be of service to you.